We have reached the new section in this light summary or small summary. Al-Mukhtasar Al-Lateef or Al-Mukhtasar Al-Saghir. Lateef is light, Saghir is small. Both titles have been attributed to the book. Sometimes a book has more than one title, just like a person can have more than one name. So the author says, section, Tayammum is obligatory for being in a state of lesser or greater religious impurity, when unable to use water because of lacking it while residing or traveling, and also for the sick person. So Tayammum. Now we have reached this section. This Tayammum is one of the main objectives of purification. Purification has a number of main objectives. 1. Wudu. 2. Ghusl. 3. Tayammum. 4. Removing najasa. Those are it. Those are the main objectives of purification. We have covered wudu and ghusl and removal of najasa. Now we are at tayammum. Interestingly here, the author, he mentioned the cases of filth before tayammum. Perhaps he did that because it's a condition to remove najasa from yourself before you make tayammum. So he observed that in the order of the chapters that he put. What exactly is the tayammum? How do you define it? Tayammum is applying soil to the face and hands instead of making wudu or ghusl or washing an organ. That's the definition. Applying soil to the face and hands, not more. So in this way, it resembles wudu. As far as its appearance is concerned, it looks like wudu more than ghusl. Applying soil to the face and hands instead of, meaning tayammum is a replacement. Tayammum is not a fundamental purification, it's a replacement. And it's an emergency purification. Applying soil to the face and hands instead of making wudu or ghusl. So even though it looks like wudu more than ghusl, you still use it to replace a ghusl. It's the same procedure for replacing a ghusl as it is for replacing wudu. Yani tayammum has one form, but it replaces three things. The same procedure for replacing any of these three things: wudu, or ghusl, or washing an organ. That's the Shafi'i school. Meaning, you're unable to make wudu with water, then you're going to make tayammum. You're unable to perform a ghusl with water, then you're going to make tayammum. You are unable to wash one of your organs or part of the organ because of a cast or because of a wound, like a burn or a scrape, or because you have some cream there that you cannot remove for your own good, that is, you need it there, then you need to make tayammum to replace the organ that you cannot wash. So tayammum is obligatory for being in a state of lesser or greater religious impurity when unable to use water because of lacking water, and also for the sick. Here, so I just skipped some words. I skipped the words while residing or traveling. I'll come back to them. Tayammum is obligatory when unable to use water. Yani, if I just bold something here. Tayammum is obligatory when unable to use water because of lacking it and also for the sick person. So, in this sentence here, the author gives you two reasons you're going to make tayammum. One is because you lack water, and the other is because you're sick. Both of these, lacking water and being sick, they basically go back to the same reason: inability. The main cause of tayammum is inability. This inability, you can split it into two parts. One is lacking water, therefore you're unable to use it because you don't have it. And two is being sick, therefore you're unable to use it although you have it. When he says here, for being in a state of lesser or greater religious impurity, it means you're going to make tayammum for needing to make wudu or needing to make a ghusl. And when he says here, while residing or traveling, it means it's possible that you lack water while residing, while you are in town. And it's possible that you lack water while you are traveling. What, though, is the dominant case here? Traveling. Because usually the people of a town have water, unless there's a drought or a famine or something. Because the people don't make cities where there isn't any water. They make their cities by the rivers and like this, areas where there's life. Why did the author mention residing or traveling? Maybe because he wants to signal to you here that there's a difference. Each one of these has a rule. Because tayammum is an emergency purification. So you're not going to resort to it as long as you don't have to. Tayammum is like a fire alarm. Or it's like a fire axe behind glass. Do you pull the fire alarm without a verified emergency? No. You're going to get in trouble. Or do you break the glass that has the fire axe behind it before you verify an emergency? No. So you verify the emergency, then you go into action. Usually the one who's able to use water will not have this problem while residing. So he's not sick and he is in town. He is neither sick and he's neither a traveler. So why doesn't he have water? So since this is not the original reason to lack water, there's going to be a rule here, which is if you make tayammum in a land that usually has water because you can't find any, then you're going to have to make up your prayer. If you make tayammum in a land at a time, also in a land and at a time in which there is usually water, both of those, the time and the place, where you are at the time you are there usually has water, then you make your tayammum now and pray, but you're going to have to make up that prayer later. That's the Shafi'i school. Pray now and still make it up later. And with that being said, that you're going to pray now and then still make it up later, take note that in the Shafi'i school, there are a number of cases in which you will pray now and still make it up later. I'm not going to list them now, but I'm just opening that door for you so that you know. Here's one case When you're going to pray now and still make it up later, you must pray now. That's the case of making tayammum in a land at a time that usually has water. As for traveling, that's usually when a person who's able to use water won't find water. So then you're going to make your tayammum and pray, and that's going to be sufficient for a valid prayer. You won't have to make it up later. And now here, when he says sick person, that's the original case, that you are sick and so you can't use the water. Why though? How does being sick make you unable to use the water? Because maybe it's going to make you sicker. Or maybe it will prolong your recovery. Or maybe it will, which is being sicker, increase the pain. Increase the pain / make you sicker. That's the original case. You are the sick one, so you can't use water. But sometimes it's not that you are sick. The water is sick. Qad yuqal. Yani, the water is unhealthy. And you're unable to use it. You can't apply it to yourself. It might harm you. I once saw a documentary. I believe the setting was Bangladesh. Those were Muslims in this documentary. About some people, they live or in their town or village or yani, where they live, in their vicinity, there's a leather making factory. They have chemicals. They use chemicals for their leather making. So what do they do with their toxic waste, this leather making factory? They dump it into the water. So because of that, many people in this area have a rash. So those were Bengali Muslims. So you probably know, like, maybe you might have a stereotypical picture of Bengali Muslim. You can picture one of those brothers, has a long shirt, has his izar, has his flip-flops. He has rash too, though, on his arms, on his legs. May Allah have mercy on those. I mean, yeah, contaminated water. So sometimes it's the water that's going to make you sick. That's going to be like a sick person. So as you can see, just from these little bit of words, there's a lot of talk. And I am now trying deliberately to keep the talk short. This is a good exercise for me, to keep the talk of tayammum short. It's a fascinating chapter, lots of details and interesting things. So when one has on his body a wound that is harmed by water, like a burn, a scrape, a cut, he washes what is healthy and performs tayammum on the face and hands because of the wound. So this sentence here is for completing the definition of tayammum. I told you, tayammum is applying soil to the face and hands. He says right here, performs tayammum on the face and hands. Applying soil to the face and hands instead of making wudu or ghusl. He says here, for being in a state of lesser or greater religious impurity. And instead of washing an organ, and he says right here, when one has on his body a wound that is harmed by water, he washes what is healthy and performs tayammum. That's his way of saying, instead of washing an organ. So then he goes on. He says the tayammum would be performed at the time of washing the sick part. This sentence means if you're making wudu. This sentence does not apply to the ghusl. Why you said it like that if it doesn't apply to the ghusl? Because this is the easy summary, the light, small summary. It's keeping it easy for you. If you're making wudu, you're going to make tayammum at the time of washing the sick part because wudu has an order. So, is the sick part on your head? Then you're going to make wudu when after, I'm sorry, then you're going to make tayammum after you wash your face and after you wash your arms. Then you can't wipe your head, you're going to make tayammum. Then you're going to wash your feet. Or the sick part is the foot, like this. Wash your face, wash your arms, wipe your head. Then when you get to your foot, you can make tayammum. You can wash, you're gonna make tayammum at the time of the feet. Now I just stopped myself. As for ghusl, though, it doesn't have any special order. So you can make tayammum at any time. Before you do the ghusl, or after you do the ghusl, or in the middle of the ghusl. And if you have a question here about how would a person make tayammum in the middle of his ghusl, wouldn't this make the soil all wet and stuff? Muddy? If you have that question, then that means to you, ghusl just means you're standing in the shower, for example. But could be making ghusl from a cup. Filling up a little cup. And then washing a part. Fill up your little cup again, wash a part. Fill up a little cup again, wash your part. Just to broaden your horizon there about these religious rules. And he says, it is obligatory to wipe the cast with water if one is unable to remove it. Yes. Yani. So all of this goes together here. Like, if I wanted to, what I could do here. Supposing I put something like this here. Separating these two. So that what's above there refers to replacement of the wudu or ghusl. And what's down here refers to the inability to wash something. Because of a wound. But I'm not going to do that. So, subhanallah, you were riding a motorcycle. Then Allah willed for you to fall and scrape up something on yourself. Or you were playing. Or you were cooking, you burnt yourself. Or you cut yourself with the knife and you don't want to keep wetting this cut. You're afraid of infection here. You want to let it heal. It's not going to close up if you keep making it wet. So now you're unable to wash a part. What do? When one has on his body a wound that is harmed by water, he washes what is healthy. That means he washes around it. And he performs tayammum. He washes what is healthy and performs tayammum. Now, up till here, the author is not addressing a barrier. All that the author is offering us here is that you can't wash the spot. He didn't say, and you have something on the spot. So that's an extra detail. That's what this sentence down here is for. So we're going to come to it. Before that, he just wants to tell you, what if you had a wound and you can't wash it? As if he's saying, I didn't say anything about a barrier yet. So what do? You wash around that wound and you make tayammum for that wound that you can't wash. Now, well, what if the wound is on your face or your arms? I'm going to skip that for right now. So let's just keep the scenarios easy so we can understand the case in the first place. So let's say, for argument's sake, your scrape is on your foot. So now you have a scrape on your foot, a circle. You got a red circle on your foot. You can't wash it. So what do? You're going to make wudu, wash your face, wash your arms, wipe your head. When you come to that foot, just wash all around that spot and then make tayammum. And then wash your other foot. Or make tayammum and then wash all around that spot and then wash your other foot. Or wash the other foot and make tayammum and then wash the foot with the wound and wash all around that spot and just leave that spot alone. This is valid. Let me know if that's not clear for you. Do you have any questions so far? Okay. He says it is obligatory to wipe the cast with water if one is unable to remove it. Maybe you might ask. Okay. He says you have to wipe the cast with water if you can't take it off. What about the wound itself, though? What about the wound itself, though? If you didn't have a cast, would you have to just wipe it, maybe? No, leave the wound alone. Just wash around it and leave it alone. Okay, so then, what's the tayammum for? The tayammum is for that spot that you can't wash. Just leave it alone. The tayammum covers that. So the tayammum is the replacement of the spot that you are unable to wash. Okay. What about if you have a cast there, or the likes of a cast, a sling, even a bandage, a band-aid, or an ace bandage you wrapped around, the one that's like elastic, or cream, all of that has the same judgment. If you cannot remove it, then you're going to wipe the cast. Why? Why wipe the cast? Because the cast is taking up some of the healthy part. Meaning, if you didn't have a cast there, wouldn't it be that you wash all the healthy part, just wash around the wound, leave the wound alone, wash around it, wash all the healthy part, and make tayammum for the wound that you can't wash? Yes. When you put a cast there, that cast is going to cover some of the healthy part. Now you can't wash some of the healthy part. For example, that scrape that we imagined is on your foot. You have a red circle on the top of your foot, let's say. Can't wash it. When you put the bandage there, the bandage might cover the bottom of your foot too, because you have to wrap it around your foot just to keep it on your foot. Or even if it doesn't go that far, all the way around to the bottom of your foot, which that's valid, still would go beyond the wound itself, though, usually. So, unless what you have on your wound covers the wound exactly only, and it doesn't cover even a single piece of the healthy skin, I can conceive that if you have cream. In my own mind, I can conceive that you're able to put the cream only on the sick spot, and everything that's healthy is left uncovered. Okay. Then it's going to be like you don't have anything on your wound. If you were able to do it like that, then it's like you don't have a cast on or anything there. Then you're going to do the same thing. Wash all around the sick spot, make tayammum to replace the sick spot that you can't wash. That's it. But for other than cream, it's very difficult for my own mind to imagine how you're going to cover that without taking up some of the healthy part. That's why the author didn't say all of what I'm saying to you now. He just told you, if you have a cast that you can't take off, you're going to have to wipe on it. Then if you were to say to him, but what if the cast doesn't take up more than the healthy part? I still have to wipe on it? Then his answer to you is, no, you don't have to wipe on it, but usually that's not going to happen. That's why I didn't say it like that. And it is understood from this statement that he's telling you, if you can take it off, you have to. Like maybe your wound is a broken bone. And so the water itself is not what harms you. The water itself is not what harms you, but meaning if you were to put your broken arm under the water, it's not going to hurt, but your bone's not going to heal because you need to keep it stabilized. So if you're able to remove your cast or your cream or your sling or whatever you have there, your band-aid, then you're obligated to, if you can do so without harming yourself. If you are unable, then you're going to have to wipe over the whole cast or whatever that is. Why? Because wiping the cast replaces washing the healthy part that you can't reach. So making tayammum replaces not washing the wound. And wiping on the cast replaces not washing the healthy part around the wound that's covered by the cast. And if this cast takes up more than what's needed, the cast, if you can't remove it and it takes up more than what's needed, you're going to have to make up all your prayers. You're going to pray now and make up your prayers later. That's the Shafi'i school. For example, you broke your pinky and the cast is all the way down to your elbow. And you can't take it off. Then now, khalas, you're going to have to make up your prayers. You know from the beginning here, Yani, they put you to sleep, you woke up to find that they gave your cast from your pinky to your elbow. Then you're going to say, Subhanallah. Hey guys, can you shorten this for me? No, sorry. I'm going to have to leave it like that for you. Then you're going to say, man, I'm going to have to make up all my prayers. This is way more than what's needed. So much of the healthy part I won't be able to wash now. And I can't take it off. But if you can take it off, then do so. Zion, you just take it off. Wash your hand with your broken pinky. Dry it off, inshallah. Put the cast back on. So I think we should stop there, and then we can tackle the next section. The next section in the next session. Any question? I forgot to mention for you that Tayammum is special to the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was not revealed to another prophet, and also also wiping the khufs was not revealed to another prophet. And now I'm just realizing, is there a section on khufs in here? No, let's just scan ahead real quick. So this light summary doesn't address the khufs. طيب سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Now, the more and more I read this with you, the more and more I gain a new appreciation for this book. It's a good review. MashaAllah. Barakallahu feekum wa jazakumullahu khayra. Oh, so did you get your question answered? You said, are we allowed to wet wipe over the bandage? Yani, if the bandage takes up more than what's needed, you're obligated to wet wipe over the bandage according to Ash-Shafi'i. Subhanaka. You said, so we need, no, you're going to use soil for the wound that you can't wash. Tayammum with soil replaces the wound that you can't wash. Wiping the cast replaces the healthy part that you can't wash. Yes, I'll repeat. When you have a wound that you're unable to wash, you're going to make tayammum. This scrape on your foot, that red circle there. What if you didn't put any bandage on there? So what are you going to do? Just wash all around it, wash all the healthy part, leave the wound alone, and make tayammum. Why are you making tayammum? Tell me, please. Because you're unable to wash the organ. Yes, which is just the sick part. When we say you're unable to wash the organ, meaning the sick part of the organ. And all of the healthy part, you can wash it. You just wash around the wound. Okay, correct. So then you weren't able to do anything to cover this circle on your foot. You need to cover it, Yani. What you going to do? How you going to put sock on? How you going to put your shoe on? Oh man, these wounds, they really hinder you in so many ways. The only way now you're going to be able to even put a sock or a shoe on is to cover this circle. So then you went to get something to cover that circle so that you can put your sock and your shoe on. So you put a bandage there. And yeah, the bandage is going to have to cover more than the circle itself, right? It has to go beyond the circle to some degree just to stay on your foot. So now you're going to have to, no. So then you look. When it's time to make wudu, can you take the bandage off? So then you have to. And then wash all of the healthy part and just make tayammum. But if not, you said, I see. So you'll wipe the part that the cut is with soil and the healthy part wiped with water? No. The part with the wound, you're going to leave it alone. Don't do anything to it. That's why I'm only giving you an example of a wound that's on the foot. So to keep the details down for now. Because the foot is not a tayammum organ, that's why. Since the foot is not a tayammum organ, then the wound will not interfere with the tayammum. So I don't want to talk about that right now. So you have a wound on your foot. You can't wash that wound. You're going to wash around it, leave the wound alone altogether, and make tayammum for being unable to wash that spot. Don't put soil on the spot. Just leave it alone. That's clear up till here. Now, that's all fine. But now let's say you need to cover this. Or else you're going to walk around without anything on your foot. Because you don't want to harm that. You don't want to agitate that circle more by putting some sock on there, putting your shoe on there. So you need to cover it. So you get yourself a bandage. And you cover that spot. Now, this bandage most likely is going to cover some of the healthy part. Because it needs to be wider than the wound itself, right? The bandage needs to be wider than the wound itself just to cover the wound and stay on your foot, right? So that means this bandage is covering some of the healthy part that you would be obligated to wash had the bandage not been there. Now, not only you can't wash the wound, also you can't wash some of the healthy part around the wound because there's a barrier there. Unless you're able to remove it. If you're able to remove it, then the author told us you'll be obligated to remove it. It is obligatory to wipe the cast with water if one is unable to remove it. If you are able to remove it, and then wash all of the healthy part and leave the wound alone. But if you can't remove it and it's taking up more space than the wound and it's covering some of the healthy part, then you're going to have to wipe over the bandage. And wiping over that bandage is for what? is for replacing what? Tell me, please. Wiping over the bandage is for replacing what? 5, 4, 3. Yes, for replacing the healthy part. Wiping over the bandage is for replacing the healthy part. So it's clear for you now? You're welcome. You say you still need to sit with it. Okay. Yeah, this does need study. That's very true. Now what I'm saying to you is, yani, after qad you call sweat and blood, now I can say it to you and it's clear in my own mind. Take these 2 sentences, write them down. The tayammum is for replacing the unwashable wound. Wiping the bandage is for replacing the unwashable healthy part because it's blocked by the barrier. Yes. The tayammum with soil on your face and hands is for replacing the wound that you can't wash. In our scenario, the wound is on your foot. So you're not going to wipe the wound with soil. You're making tayammum as a replacement for a spot that you can't wash. Now, if on top of the fact that you can't wash that spot, you have a bandage there that blocks you from washing the healthy part around it, then write this sentence here. Wiping the entire bandage replaces washing the healthy part around the wound. So, making tayammum with soil replaces washing the wound. Wiping on the barrier on the bandage replaces washing the healthy part that's blocked by the bandage. So if you are able to remove the bandage, you must, and then wash all of the healthy part around the wound and leave the wound alone. You said I get this problem after Sunday games. Scratch here, scratch there. Usually just let the water run over and cry a bit. Yeah, I mean, that sounds doable there. In fact, that might be your obligation. Meaning, if making wudu hurts, but bearably, you're able to bear that pain, it's not excruciating, then you're obligated. Then it's going to be like a person who has a migraine while he's fasting. What are you going to do? Break your fast because you have a headache? Are you going to bear that pain that's a bearable pain? That's, in this case, a bearable pain. You're going to continue to fast despite that pain. Or another example, a person needs to make wudu, but he has a needle, like an IV. He has IV in his skin. He has to keep the IV in his skin. A person has an IV in his skin. He needs to make wudu. What was I saying? Oh, so a person has an IV in his skin. He can't take it out. I mean, he has to keep it there. But he needs to make wudu. And in order to make wudu, he has to take it out. But then he's going to have to put it back in, and that hurts. If that's bearable, then he has to do it. He has to still make wudu. And then bear that bearable pain. That's going to be like making wudu with ice cold water. Icy cold water. That hurts, but it's bearable. So you're obligated to do it if you don't have any other water. And if it doesn't harm you. Is that clear? Brother Ahmed, it's clear for you? Okay. طيب. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.